Recording will start soon. I think we're recording now. So my name is Karla Roberts and I consent to recording. Mark, why don't you introduce yourself and consent to recording?
My name is Mark Anthony Gakutan and I do consent to be recorded.
Perfect. And just to preface why we're presenting this project charter in more than 2 videos, we've all been on a text thread together as a team and none of our schedules align. So we're meeting with each other and we will all agree to the team project charter at the end of it, but we're having separate discussions.
Correct.
Cool. Okay, so I am going to share my screen so that we can use it to guide our exercise. Can you let me know when you can see my screen?
Okay. Yep, it's loaded up.
Perfect. So on the left, I just have the project charter, which we're going to be filling out, Mark, and I'll take notes and type it. When I've gotten Zihan and Braden's responses, I'll make sure I send it to each of you individually so we can each send it to Dr. Salmons via the assignment and we each get our own credit for it. But
Sounds
as
good.
you know, perfect. As you know, she gave us a PDF document called Building Ground Rules for a Successful Teamwork, a consensus activity. And because we can't build consensus together, we're doing it individually and we're all going to come together and agree on it. So some of the exercises that she suggested we go through is that as new groups form and organize to define their purpose and explore their team norms, they need to address 2 critical issues up front: how to create guidelines for attendance and timelines, decision making, managing conflicts and confidentiality, and how to engage in meaningful discussions and reach consensus in critical issues. Do you want to read or do you want me to just keep reading so that we're both on the same page?
We can go back and forth.
Okay, so I'll read this page, I'll let you read the next. This activity provides a team with an experience in both issues by combining the need to engage in group decision making in order to reach consensus on a set of 12 normative behaviors that are essential in building successful teamwork relationships. It can be used in the first meeting of a newly formed group or team prior to dealing with task teams items on the agenda, or it can stand alone as the first task of an ongoing group or team. Go ahead.
The rank order chosen by the participants become their set of ground rules. When the activity is completed, this document can be displayed, reorganized according to the chosen rank, for all to see and follow during ongoing teamwork processes. Suggested time, 50 to 60 minutes. Materials needed is Form A, which is building ground rules, 12 5x8-inch index cards, one containing each of the 12 items on Form A, prepared prior to the activity, typed using at least a 16-point font, masking tape or drafting dots or tack pins. Procedure will be...
Before you go to the procedure, so the suggested time, we're actually breaking up into 20-minute chunks because I'm going to meet with all 3 of you since I have the biggest availability out of all of us and nothing else is lining up. So we'll probably talk for 20 minutes and then I'll talk with Zion for 20 minutes and Bryden for 20 minutes. And then our professor is just going to get a link to those 3 meetings. I am trying to see if Bryden can meet with you, Zion, and I before 4 p.m. on Wednesday of this week, so we can do our second group discussion where we all agree to the charter. But just so that it's known in this very first video that Dr. Salmons will receive, we're breaking it up into 3 separate videos that are 20 minutes each. And then in terms of using the index cards, we're trying to be environmentally friendly. So we're using this Word document instead to go through each of the 12 items. Okay, so go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no, you're good. All right, so the procedures. Step 1 is going to tell participants that this activity will give them the opportunity to build their team ground rules while simultaneously giving them practice and meaningful discussions and reaching consensus. Second, we will hold a brief discussion on why it is important to establish team norms and guidelines for attendance, timelines, decisions making, manage conflict, and confidentiality, and on how teamwork outcomes improve when members engage in meaningful discussions and reach consensus. Third, we will distribute Form A and explain that members have 10 minutes working on their own to rank order the 12 items using the column Your Ranking to indicate which item is the most important to them. Use number 1 to indicate what is most important and number 12 to indicate what is least important. There are no right or wrong answers. And fourth, we'll call time and tell participants that they have 25 minutes for team discussion. Review ways to make decisions, majority rule, voting, the leader decides, unilateral, powerful minority decides. Everyone agrees, unanimity, and consensus, general accord, agreement. Though it might not be your preference, you can live with it because it was arrived at fairly. Tell them to strive for consensus, try not to compete or compromise, or argue for their own choices. Avoid voting, bargaining, or coin flips. Involve all team members in discussing, deciding, and managing the time allotted. Number 5, as a group, they are to use the column team ranking to identify what is most important to them. Use number 1 to indicate what is most important, and number 12 to indicate what is least important. Original rankings in the first column should not be erased. And then for number 6, call time and discuss the team ranking results. Using the prepared index cards, each containing one of the 12 items, post them in view of participants in order of the newly agreed to guidelines. Explain how to reference them during discussions and teamwork processes.
Perfect. So the thought here is we'll probably do 1 through 3 together, you and I. And rather than each of us printing out a piece of paper and doing our own rankings, you and I can just be very honest with each other. I'll fill in mine, you fill in yours. When I meet with Zion and Brighton separately, they'll fill in each of theirs respectively on the same document. And then when we get all back together on Wednesday before 4 p.m., we can look at it as a whole and have the discussion that's supposed to happen in 4, 5, and 6 about how to prioritize those 12 items. Does that sound fair?
Sounds absolutely fair.
Okay, cool. Oh, there's still 7 and 8. Let's keep going. 7, debrief the teamwork process. How did they decide? Involve all participants, manage differences, deal with obstructive behaviors, reach agreements, and manage their time. How close did individuals' rankings come to team rankings? Ask participants to look at their top 3 and bottom 3 and compare them. This will give you a sense of how well they work together, the degree of synergy that was produced, and then ask team members to identify 3 lessons learned. So it sounds like this will be more of the dialogue that we'll have on Wednesday when we all come together as well.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So I don't know if you want to read step 1 and step 2, and then you and I can kind of take turns tag teaming the questions. Does that sound fair?
It sounds good. Yeah, I'll do step 1, step 2, and then you go 1, and then we'll just alternate from there.
Okay, cool.
Right.
And then
so
I'm
step
going to
1.
make it easier too. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you're good. All right, so building ground rules, Form A, Step 1. Each member of the team is to individually rank each of the 12 ground rules for successful teamwork. Number 1 is most important, number 12 least. Place the responses in the first column under your ranking. You will have 10 minutes to do so. Do not discuss the items until each member has finished their individual ranking. Step 2. After everyone has finished their individual ranking, rank order the 12 items as a team. Use the second column, team ranking, to record your responses. Once discussion begins, do not change your individual rankings. You will have 25 minutes for the team discussion.
Okay. So I think if it's asking us to rank them 1 through 12, now that I'm understanding a little bit better, it might be best if you and I just kind of read them on our own so that we know which one is our highest priority. Because I didn't even really think about this, but we can read them out loud for the purpose of this exercise and to get us through the 20 minutes. But I think we're going to have to read through each of these to know, like, my number 1 is this, my number 2 is this. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Cool. So would you prefer to read on your own and Dr. Sammons watches us silently for a minute? Or do you want to take turns reading these and then we'll rank them after we've read all 12?
We'll just read and alternate so that it's not pure silence for a while.
Be even or odd?
I'll be odd.
Okay, go ahead.
If we must be late or absent, we will inform the team facilitator, liaison, or a team member at least a day in advance.
Okay, number 2, we will always come to our meetings prepared to work on the agenda that we will receive before the meeting. Our preparation and data collection will be complete, and we will be ready to discuss the issues on the agenda.
We will always respect the opinions and feelings of all individuals. Each member has equal participation in our meetings. When discussing team business, members should expect to contribute to discussions and be listened to with respect.
Number 4, we will always avoid blaming people for the shortcomings of our team. If our team somehow fails to do its task properly, we will examine our team processes and attempt to improve it. If individuals are having trouble meeting their commitments, the team will support them in every possible way.
Number 5, members will support the decisions of the team after they are made. Undermining team decisions or second-guessing and bad-mouthing the team and its work outside the team setting to non-members is unacceptable behavior.
Number 6, members will live up to their team commitments, recognizing that failures to do so affects the whole team's progress. When in jeopardy of not meeting their obligations, Members will notify the team in time for other members to take supportive actions.
Number 7, when faced with a decision, we will first decide how to make the decision. Our general rule is to 1, state the problem, 2, discuss different ideas, 3, examine the benefits and risks associated with different approaches, and 4, select an approach we can all support.
Number 8, we will deal with conflict in a productive way. Our general rule for conflict is to understand the problem as best we can from each side's perspective. To do that, we will listen to all sides of the conflict, looking for facts and evidence. If there is still a conflict about facts, we will gather additional data. When the problem is understood, the team will help those in conflict create alternative approaches.
Number 9, we recognize that working on a team usually results in high-quality ideas and decisions. If we find we are not experiencing these benefits of teamwork, we will pause to assess how we are working together until we better understand our team and our work.
Number 10, we will not engage in sidebar conversations, whether or not they relate to the topic under discussion or other issues. Relevant conversations will be shared with all team members.
Number 11, because of the time boundaries of this project and our desire to engage all participants in discussions and decisions, external interruptions will be kept to a minimum.
Number 12, the discussions and decisions of this team will be kept confidential and not shared with anyone outside of this group until agreed to by all participants. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do to make it easier. I'm going to take a screenshot of just the bottom 7 or bottom few, and I'm going to keep it over to the side. That way we can look at them both together, right? And then I'll scroll up. That way we can see. So you've got 1 through 6. Sorry, it's kind of backwards. You have 7 through 12 on the left, and then 1 through 6 on the right. And then on our document over here, I'm just going to slide it to my other screen. That way I can kind of mark my answers and your answers. If there's one that were to stand out to you as most important, I think that's kind of my, like, where I'm starting. So I'm just going to kind of reread really quick and figure out like what my number 1 and my number 12 are. So if you have any, just shout them and I'll mark them down for us.
Sounds good. All right, I have my number 1.
Let's hear it.
It'll be 6.
Number 6 is your number 1, okay. And if you know what your last place one is, you can let me know that too, because that's usually easy to like figure out.
I think my 12 is going to be number 12.
Actually, that was mine too. That's funny.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I'm trying to go like the next, like what's the next most important and the next least important. That's kind of how I'm making my decisions. Not sure if that's helpful or not, but.
Oh, yeah, you're good. It's like working from both ends towards the middle.
Mm-hmm. Middle is where it usually gets a little like, oh.
Yeah.
That.
If you want, you can mark 3, 4 as my 2 and 3.
Okay, 3 and 4 is 2 and 3. Okay.
And it's going to sound unoriginal. My 10 and 11 are going to be 10 and 11.
No, that's okay. Okay, let me know if you need to see on your screen like how many you have left, because I know sometimes that can be a little confusing. Sorry in advance. My dog is dreaming and she might make noise in the background.
You're good. I think for my 4 spot, I'll have number 8.
Okay.
I think my 9 spot's going to be number 7.
Your number, sorry, 9 spot is going to be number 7?
Correct.
Okay, got it.
So I have 5, 6, 7, 8 left.
Yeah. And do you want me to tell you what questions you have left, or have you been marking them off on your own?
Mentally.
Okay. If you need me to pull it over, let me know.
I got you. Five will be number 1.
Okay. Question number 5 will be number 1?
No,
number 5 will be question 1. Got it.
Number 5.
Yeah. Sorry, I was like, you already have a 1, but now I understand.
You're good. You're good. And my 6 will be. All right, I already did 7. All right, yeah.
Do you need help? You want me to pull it over?
Which number I have left?
Question 2, question 5, question 9.
2, 5, 9.
And you have 6, 7, 8 in terms of ranking. So kind of right there in the middle.
Gotcha. For for my 6th spot, number 5.
Okay.
And then 2, 9.
Okay. Cool. Okay, so just to put it into perspective, I put my tallies here, your tallies here. I'll put Zion and Braden's here, and then I'll add a column so that we can actually agree on the rankings as a group when we get all back together, hopefully on Wednesday. These questions that are up here, I don't think are individual. I think that's where that dialogue for question, the latter half of those questions and exercises are supposed to come into play. So I'm going to save these as discussion points and add what was in that PDF on here so that we can kind of just have it as what our dialogue will be. And then my game plan is I'll just take notes during the activity while we're talking so that we can utilize that to turn into Dr. Salmon since it feels a little like disjointed. Are you okay with that?
Sounds good.
Cool. And then let me just make sure that there wasn't anything else on like the first 4 things we were supposed 1 through 3, right? Distribute Form A using the column you're ranking. Do it. There are no right or wrong answers. And we already took probably less than 25 minutes for us to go through each of them, but we'll discuss as a team when we're all together. So with that being said, in between now and then, like I said, we have the Google Drive set up. You already have access. If you just want to go to the task sign up and give yourself one of them. I'll talk to Zion tomorrow so he can choose his, and then I'll just choose whatever is left after Bryden does his. Anything else you think we should talk about before Wednesday?
I just want to clarify, for the task sign up, I'm selecting 1 or 2.
So I actually took the tasks from the project assignment that she gave us, and then she always gives us the grading criteria in there. So whatever the point value was assigned with the the major task, not like your writing mechanics, right? I kind
Yeah.
of assigned a point value here. So my thought was, as long as you have at least 20 points, you're good. So if you choose this 25-point one, you don't have to choose any other tasks. But if you're going to choose like this 15-point or 10-point one, you should probably do another one that's a little bit higher in value so that it equals, just so we can keep it fair and consistent, because there is one other task that's worth like 40 points. So just to kind of keep it fair between all of us, if you're going to choose one of the lesser value ones, try and choose two things. And then I put myself at the end just because I know Bryden is out for vacation since he thought that the semester was going to end a week earlier. And just because I don't mind doing it. So whatever, even if it's the 40-point thing that's left, I don't mind tying it all together, but I just want to make sure we follow it. And since our schedules are all crazy, there's some due dates that I put on here, like the rough draft due date. You'll notice for anyone that's not turning it in, it's a little bit earlier, so it gives me enough time to try and make it look like a cohesive project, right?
Yeah, and that's really good that
Yeah.
that we had that time set up in place.
Yeah. Are you okay with that?
I am 100% okay with that.
Cool. And then I gave everyone, she mentioned she was going to give us feedback. So after we turn in our rough draft on December 2nd, I'm assuming she's going to turn around and give us quick feedback, because then our final project is actually due on the 8th. So I'm hoping that she gives us a couple days worth of feedback, because if she gives us feedback on each of our, like maybe she gives us only feedback on force field. So whoever has force field has to really quickly turn that around and get it turned in by the 7th, so I can get it cohesive, but by the 8th. Is that fair?
Yep, absolutely.
Cool. All right. If you have any other questions, we have that group thread that we're all on, but I'm going to stop recording this so that we can turn this in as one of our 3 videos for part 1 of this discussion. And then I'll put a meeting request on the calendar so that we can all meet on Wednesday.
Sounds good.
All right,
Thank
cool.
you so much.
Thanks so much. Have a good rest of your night, okay?